look at the social good of these crowdfunding, and these are the great moment for that. Devin, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. And, you're right. Crowdfunding and social entrepreneurship are really exciting parts of the discussion today, because really what we're thinking about is how we solve a really big social problem, right? Coronavirus is fundamentally a huge social problem. And when we have an economic crisis as big as what has resulted from that too is a social problem, right? That social entrepreneurs tend to solve. And so it is super relevant today that we're talking about social entrepreneurship for a minute. And, what I'm seeing is that, yes, crowdfunding is going to have a moment here, just as you suggest. And the reason for that is that there is a perfect coincidence of this crisis and changes that the SEC is making right now, independent of the crisis. They were changing the rules on crowdfunding to allow it to be radically more powerful. So the SEC is moving forward with changes to raise the cap on crowdfunding from 1,070,000 to 5 million. And I realize that for the billionaire class, 5 million isn't interesting. But for the other 99% of the world's population, being able to raise $5 million every year through crowdfunding without having to do the rest of the things that would be required under a public registration would make no sense. Of course, we also have Reg A Plus that allows you to raise up to $50 million and has the exciting optionality of being able to choose basically whether to become a public company upon completing that $50 million raise or not. So yeah, the securities markets are really being fine-tuned, I think, for a wonderful social entrepreneurship-led recovery as people try to recapitalize their businesses. And it will now work for businesses of virtually any scale, right? If you're trying to raise $100,000 to recapitalize your restaurant, your little cafe, your Main Street cafe after the crisis, crowdfunding is there for you. If you're trying to raise $5 million to commercialize a new technology, crowdfunding is there for you. And I'm excited to see how this will play out. But these are exciting times people in the crowdfunding community.
Devin, what is that? We know the law has actually has been around for a while, and for just basically $500,000, then goes to the we know Reg A Plus, but Reg A Plus is kind of a difficult. for raising, and it hasn't been very. But for those people out there, those people right now, we were just earlier talking about that small SBA, small businesses, and basically that they need the local. That was really crowdfunding intended for the community raising money, because like in other places in Europe, you usually support, your bakery, in your area. I know this in France and other places around Europe, but, and here too, we usually support. I know I go to my regular, dry clinic, I don't go anywhere. It's cheaper. I go, I pay a little bit more money because, it's just want to keep that dry cleaning next to my, area, next to my home. So this is going to be play out very well right now for people actually, they want to support the community and, do some good, as you always say, do something good. So but my question is from you is that this is the law hasn't passed for audience over there. The law has not passed basically for the, for right now. It's under the committee so it's going to be raising for 1 million. To 1 million, it's 1 million to 5 million, correct?
Right. Yeah. So the SEC is asserting that it has the authority to change that limit unilaterally without a change in the law from Congress, which is an interesting assertion on its face. But I think it is in this case, I'm excited about the decision because it means we're moving much more quickly. Sydney, you remember well that the Jobs Act authorizing regulation crowdfunding passed in 2012.
Yeah.
And the SEC dragged its feet until 2016 before implementing the rules. It was really tragic in my mind that it took so long. The SEC has shifted a little bit. We're seeing a real enthusiasm for crowdfunding now. And so they're unilaterally asserting that they can change the cap under the rules established by the Jobs Act, that no congressional action is required. And so they're moving forward. And the change is exciting because what will happen with the cap raised to 5 million is that people at all levels will be able to raise more money. Why is that? Because the system will finally have enough scale to work efficiently. And so we will see people, ordinary individuals, are going to get accustomed now to having the opportunity to invest in startups, which, for 80 years we couldn't do. And now we'll have a mechanism. And because the scale is larger, the intermediaries are going to become more efficient and more effective. And so, yes. So when you want to raise $100,000 for your Main Street cafe to relaunch after the pandemic here, you'll be able to do that. And that is really exciting because, the CARES Act here in the United States, I realize there's people watching all around the world, but here in the United States, the CARES Act has provided a lot of great short-term lending. And Sydney, you alluded to that. The Paycheck Protection Program with the SBA and other programs that Congress is working on right now are extending benefits to all kinds of employers to keep people on the job or get them back on the job quickly. But that doesn't provide the kind of working capital a little company might lose from being closed down or virtually closed down for months at a stretch. And so crowdfunding could be a really linchpin piece of the puzzle for getting some businesses, back open again after our social distancing ends and we can begin to go back out to cafes and such. But anyway, very exciting.
No, that's good. I mean, I remember we both were involved since 2012 and we were very frustrated, why it's taking too long. I mean, the law passed with both Congress at the time was Democrat and, Republican, they all passed it. Then we waited for about a couple of years in the SEC. Guess what happened? All the entrepreneurs, they went to the ICOs and those phony baloney, which I call it all the time, those, phony baloney, tokens, which is worthless. The same token we have, we had this crowdfunding Title III of the, Jobs Act that it's regulated, semi-regulated. Those portals, they have to register, they check everybody, that checks and balances. And it's not just anybody can come up with some wild idea, tokenize it. And, a lot of people got ripped off, on that token over there because entrepreneurs always find, but that's another thing. But I really like right now crowdfunding. We always had the brands called crowdfundingusa.com, where those of us will sit on the side, see what we can do about it. But it's not about all money. If we want to be somehow helping other people, would be in social good, maybe, contribute to the job. Contribute to food banks, some other ways. It's not about helping entrepreneurs is important. Small business is a heartbeat of America. It is. And that's good.
Sure.
If you want to do something, we got to keep these guys back in the action. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of, it's not all about these big bank, big companies. It's about those little entrepreneurs that employ people, cafe, restaurant, a lot of this is shop. So, this is going to help tremendously. And, and Crowdfunding USA, that's what we have. We're going to be put it out there, but, somehow not just not for money always, but for just having some charity, which is, I know you're big, implement on that. You're very big on that.
Yeah, well, you're right. And one of the things I love about crowdfunding is that it inherently solve some problems that exist in our economic system here in the United States. And as one, I think, Sydney, you're an immigrant, and so maybe you feel this at times, but minorities, immigrants, women are often subject to some discrimination, and we can see it in the data, right? That people don't get their fair shake. And I hate to personalize that with you, Sydney, but
no, that's right. I mean, but I learned how to play golf, so
that's good. But that's good. So
that's for those of us.
Yes, you also live in Silicon Valley, I think, so that helps. But
that helps.
But
and having friends like you and other people out there, so basically.
Yeah, but I think that crowdfunding has demonstrated, the data has made very clear that women and minorities are getting their fair share, or at least something more aligned with their fair share through crowdfunding than they do through bank lending or through venture capital. And that is exciting. This is a form of capital that works for them and is empowering to, vast groups of people. I get excited about that.
Me too, including women. I think we're just crowdfunding help a lot of women, and a lot of people raise a lot of money, small money for, community, whatever beer. So it's a good. I will look everybody out there watching this video. Thanks, Devin, you coming here. I know you were busy over there, but I want to, before you go over there, I know you're running for a Congress, and well, congratulations first of all. If we can't vote you all the way from Silicon Valley, how can anybody go into your, to know more about? We know all about you. How can they go there?
I appreciate that, Sydney, very much. So if you want to learn more about my campaign here in Utah, visit devinthorp.com.
So you're running for the Congress in what area of the?
In Utah's 3rd district, which includes part of Salt Lake County, and then runs all the way down to the Four Corners area where Utah meets Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. So all the way down to the corner of the state. So it's a huge chunk of Utah, and it's a very diverse population. So we've got a huge Native American population in that region of the state. And then we've got what we like to brag about, we call our Silicon Slopes community is located in this district. So our high-tech community is there. So it's very, very diverse. We've got our coal country down in the center of the state that's part of the district, big coal mines and coal-fired power plants. And so we got to figure out how to help those people as we transition away from coal.
What is the election? Is it going to be November? Is it November?
Yeah.
So you think we're going to have do you think we're going to have a general election in November? What does that mean?
Yes. I think
absentee
President Trump is resisting the idea of mail-in ballots. But interestingly, we have been doing that in Utah, very Republican Utah. We've been doing vote by mail for years. In fact, I don't remember really clearly the last time I went to a polling place, because we've been doing vote by mail for a long time, and it works really, really well. And so I think that's what will happen in most states. We will implement very generous vote by mail, and we'll have an election.
And you approve this message?
I approve this message. That's
okay,
right.
Go ahead. I just had to say that. Devin, thank you very much for joining us. I know your time very much. We appreciate
Thank you.
Very kind. You haven't changed bed since those. I haven't only since 2012. Anything, you look better. I mean, so I have all of our video. We appreciate you being here part of our program. Thank you, Devin.
Thank you very much. Bye now.
Okay. All right, guys. So thank you for so far and being part of our, this experience that we have. We usually, our brand Fintech World has been around since 2012. We started with the crowdfund beat, and so myself actually, been involved in this, internet finance, and so we have a media company, Fintech World, and I want to thank all of my partners and people like Ann, Brad, Tommy, and other people that behind the scenes, Terry, Trey, and all these other people that behind the scene you don't see. We got a good thing going on. We just had our conference that we usually do, and in London. We call it boutique conference in London and New York, and we just had it in the 20. We got lucky in New York in 20.